As the partial government shutdown drags into its second week, there remain few signs of a way out. President Trump has threatened to veto any government spending package unless it includes $5 billion in funding for a wall on the southern border. Democrats say they will only extend border security funding at last year's level, about $1.6 billion, 1.3 of which was for pedestrian fencing. As their first order of business in control of the House, Democrats will pass a spending bill that reopens the government temporarily, but without the $5 billion in additional border wall funding President Trump wants. This is the same offer that has been on the table and rejected by the White House since the beginning. Unsurprisingly, the White House has already dismissed the Democrats' proposal out of hand. President Trump made an outsized bet that he could win a shutdown fight. Democrats forced his hand, and now it is a hand that has grown considerably weaker. Not all of the government is shut down. Congress has already passed appropriations legislation covering about 3/4 of the government, including the Departments of Defense and Health and Human Services, among others. Funding bills for 9 other agencies remain mired in the impasse over funding for the wall. When the shutdown first began, any funding package that could pass the Senate required the support of at least 9 Democrats to achieve the 60 votes necessary to shut down a filibuster and pass a spending bill. But no Senate Democrats were willing to support a funding package that included the president's $5 billion request for the wall, and that much hasn't changed. With Democrats now in control of the House, any deal to reopen the government will require Democratic support there too. For the Democratic base, opposition to the wall is a proxy for opposition to President Trump. For Democrats, caving to President Trump on wall funding as their first act after gaining control of the House is really not an acceptable option. Democrats reckon that weak public support for President Trump's border wall gives them the upper hand. According to a new Harvard-Harris poll, 56% of respondents do not support a border wall, compared to 44% who do. Democrats sense that they backed President Trump into a corner and are determined to press their advantage. They have no intention of resolving the shutdown without extracting a pound of flesh. But President Trump's supporters are invested in the wall and are never more pleased than when he is brawling with Democrats. President Trump has made the wall his signature initiative and is trying to frame the debate in terms of Democratic obstructionism of necessary border security measures. But his comments accepting responsibility for a shutdown last month complicate this. The fact that the public doesn't see a wall as all that necessary doesn't help either. As things stand, Democrats seem unlikely to agree to any deal to reopen the government that does not force President Trump to accept a humiliating retreat. It's equally unlikely that Trump will be willing to accept defeat either. Until one of those two things change, it's hard to see how this ends. For Roughly Explained, I'm Taylor Griffin.